Paula Coomber, Seaside Radio. I'm in Hull with Mike Covell. Now, Mike looks a reasonable chap. Yeah, the sort you wouldn't mind meeting on a dark night. But what goes on in his head is absolutely fascinating. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike?
Yep, sure. My name's Mike Covell. I'm from Kingston upon Hull. People call me a paranormal historian. My work sort of includes researching Jack the Ripper and the Hull connections, looking at the spooky side of Hull's history, looking at strange cryptozoology in the East Riding, UFO reports, ghosts, you name it.
Yeah, somewhere or other. If it's can be explained as unexplained, you're going to look at it.
Yep, if it's a dark part of Hull's history, I'll definitely be there researching it.
And it's not just Hull, it's the East Riding as well.
Yeah, certainly. Stories of sea monsters right along the Yorkshire coast, strange sightings of airships at Hornsey and Witheransea, all the way down to ghosts seen at Spain Point, you name it.
Right. Now, you've got a fascination, I know, with Jack the Ripper. You've done a lot of research on this and done programmes on TV about it. Have you come to any conclusion about who he actually was?
No, actually, despite 120 odd suspects being named to date, I don't think I can actually pinpoint one that's been named that I'd like to say, yeah, definitely they were a good candidate. There's certainly some very interesting candidates, there's certainly some very dark candidates, but at the same time, there's quite a lot that are amusing, that, you know, people laugh when you mention their names and things like that. It's the field of research that sort of draws me to it rather than the names of the suspects.
Right, and you've also researched big cat sightings in Yorkshire as well.
Yep, certainly. Big cat sightings in the East Yorkshire, from Hornsey and Witheransea, right round the Yorkshire Wolds.
Yeah. And what's your personal feeling on this? Do you feel that there are some out there?
I do, yeah. We've had some fascinating reports from people in high up places, doctors, nurses and so on. People, professional people that, you know, wouldn't normally come forward and say this is what we've seen. And we've had footprints and, you know, so I certainly say there's something there. What it is, I'm not sure, but it'd be nice to have some sort of professional investigation into what is out there. Now,
this is sort of what you call a full-time hobby.
It is, yeah. This is it takes up quite a lot of time. Some of it I spend online researching historical newspaper reports and census returns and so on. A lot of it spent, you know, the local archives in Hull, the East Riding archives down at Beverley. You know, it depends really how I'm feeling, weather and health permitting.
Of course. And some of these ideas must have come to you through researching other things. You'll have seen something. That's interesting. I must look into that.
Yeah, certainly. Prime example, the other day I was researching a lady that had been murdered in Hull. I was looking for her magistrate's papers, and whilst I was looking for her magistrate's papers, I came across a gentleman that had been once struck by lightning in Hull. You know, in the 1800s, and that sort of notion fascinated me, and, you know, I've made a note of that, and I will be investigating that at some point in the future.
You didn't quite go off on a tangent and follow it straight away.
It has been known for it to happen. Yeah, I have done it in the past, especially, you know, when you're looking through old burial records and you find someone's had quite a strange death and things like that. It's quite morbid, but it's quite interesting, and once I get interested, that's it.
Obviously, you've heard this fascination for the phenomenon since you were 8 years old.
Yep.
Which your father helped to foster in
Yep.
you. You must have read hundreds of books.
Certainly, yeah. My own personal library is in the thousands on paranormal books alone. But whenever I get the chance to travel, I was down at the British Library last year, and I was looking at some of their Victorian literature on the paranormal that relates to, you know, East Yorkshire, and it was absolutely fascinating.
But you also travel around and you lecture on various things.
That is correct, yeah. I've travelled around Hull and East Yorkshire, but even further afield, I've been to London twice to lecture on both ghosts and the paranormal and Jack the Ripper.
And also you go and talk to school children about them?
School children, primary school children, I've been in to talk about local history matters. Secondary school, I was there recently talking about Jack the Ripper, which was fun.
Now, of all of these things that you've researched, what would you say is the one that's the most fascinating?
Oh, that's a tough one. I do like the big cat sightings. You know, I'd love to get out there more, but because of my health, it's not always an option. The thing is, with Jack the Ripper, I can research it sat down, so you know, it's something that that I can do sat quite comfortably at home.
And there's also a lot of ghost stories that you.
There is, yeah. East Yorkshire's got so much history. People tend to forget, about the fantastic history we've got, and because of that, there's been a lot of ghostly sightings in some of the old manor houses and buildings, and they're just fascinating.
Is there anything that frightens you?
It's a tough one. Not really, no. Just not being able to find the files I'm looking for is one thing that really annoys me.
But the paranormal doesn't worry you or upset you?
The funny thing is, it's something that I've got an heart condition. I'm not supposed to get stressed out and things like that. And dealing with the paranormal tends to, it relaxes me. Where most people would say that, it's quite spooky. Yeah, it does relax me, and it's something that I can go along to and enjoy. And
and you've got children, young children,
yes,
who are showing an interest in this. They don't know all of it yet, obviously, but you quite like them to follow in your footsteps.
It's entirely up to them. My daughter's 5, and she's not really that interested. My son's 8, and he's like a walking encyclopedia of big cat sightings and things like that. So he's read up on it, and he's quite well versed in it.
And how does your wife feel living with someone that's a mine of all this?
She's been on paranormal investigations with us before, and she's been to the lectures and things like that, and she quite enjoys it.
Have you been on any ghost tours in Hull?
I've done my own free ghost tours, actually. I took a group of Mexican tourists around just before Christmas. They'd got in touch via Facebook and asked for a local history tour. Someone had offered to charge them £100 to take them around, and I said I'll do it for free. And we took them around all the locations, gave them the history, the false history that people had given over the past, the myths associated with the locations, and then the ghost stories, and it was a lovely night.
If anybody else fancies any of this, can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can get in touch. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. They can get in touch and send me a message, and I'll quite happily take people around for free.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.